All
So,
right.
yeah, so I was,
Right. Before we do,
oh, okay.
don't go there yet. Don't go there. All right, everybody. This is Jimmy the Hammer, and I am here with Ayana from PilarFitVegas, and we're going to have a chat because we apparently have come to find out that we have a lot in common. And so I had wanted to get onto a conversation with her, and she's going to tell us her story and what she does and why it's important and how it's similar to us. And we're going to talk about some things because I do have some questions I do want to ask you, you being a coach.
Yeah,
And yeah, oh, yeah.
yeah,
Well, yeah,
that's
because
fine.
you got into doing something in particular that I've been trying, and I do have
Oh,
some
okay.
questions about. Oh, yes, yeah,
All right.
involves small fish.
Awesome. That's great. Okay. Well, just a little bit about me. So, I've always had a passion for fitness and health just naturally. And so, I have struggled with weight for most of my life. And that has a lot to do with habits that have been ingrained in me as well as mindset. So, that is the reason for issues with weight gain. So, just to sum it up, when I was 9 and 10, I ballooned up to almost what I weigh right now. It was just a fast trajectory up to an adult weight for a 9 or a 10-year-old. So that was very disheartening. And I was discouraged as a young child, but I got the weight off by the time I was in middle school. So that was very interesting because my mom was a type 1 diabetic. So she's like, okay, just follow this diet. So that's what I did. And I got the weight off because I didn't want to go to middle school fat. So I did that. I kept the weight off until after I got married. So I got married in my early 20s and I started teaching, going to grad school, and my husband's schedule was a little wonky. So I just slowly added the weight. So in my 20s, it was a slow progression of weight gain because, as I said, I was starting to teach, I was married newly, and I was also in grad school. And so my husband's schedule was different than mine. And so I'd stay up late, eat with him, whatever. So all of those things, I just didn't have the habits down that I needed to keep the weight off that I'd kept off since I was 11 years old because, that was an anomaly. I think it was just hormones and growing up, and I just nipped it in the bud right away. Kept it off after I got married, and that slow progression. So by the end of my 20s, I was frustrated. I had tried Atkins like mid 20s, took off most of the weight, but I didn't stick with the habit. So came back on. So by the end of my 20s, I was very frustrated. I did something that maybe some people in your audience might know. It's called HCG, and I would not recommend it, but I did it. And it's a very low calorie, 500 a day thing, but you also take HCG shots. It's supposed to help with the low calorie, whatever. I did 2 cycles of that and I took off the weight. But thank goodness I always was in the gym regardless. So I lost the weight. Someone was like, you should compete. And I brought it to my husband and he was all about it. And he was like, okay, let's do this. And I said, okay, because I had my reservations. Being from a conservative background and also being a teacher, I was like, oh, should I do this? But I started training. And so that's kind of what saved me from that low calorie HCG diet was that I slowly added my calories back. I know now that's called reverse dieting, but that's what I just did intuitively.
I can assure you that my audience does not know what HCG is because I don't.
Okay. It was a fad diet way back then. It was HCG shots. They can Google HCG, it'll come up.
Okay.
And so you take that every day along with eating a very low calorie diet, mostly protein, and the weight just melts off. Like I said, you can Google it, HCG. I would not do it though. It was like really popular at that time, late 2000s, early 2010, something like that. But what saved me was transitioning more into a bodybuilding diet, which was like higher protein, moderate fat, low carb for me. That's what my coaches had me on. And I just continued weightlifting, but I was progressively overloading with my lifting. So trying to make gains in the gym with the weights and the reps week by week and keeping my protein high, but of course eating more food. And then adding in cardio because I needed to get leaner, even though I was already small at that time, but leaner as in decreasing fat while maintaining or increasing muscle. That's what bodybuilding is all about. So, and anyways, I did that for about 4 years. In my mid 30s, I stopped and I kept the weight off. But the second time as an adult, I put on weight. It was closer to 2018. So from about 2014 to 2018, I had maintained. If I had a little upswing in weight, it would come right back down. But 2018, 2019, I blew up again. And it was faster. Like in the 20s, it was a slow progression, right? This time it was fast. 2 years. And I'm like, what happened? So that messed me up psychologically, emotionally. But I reflected and I was like, okay, I just stopped my habit. And that's really what it was. I also have, people don't like the word addiction, but I also have a dependency on certain foods and mostly processed carbohydrate, sugary bread type foods. And so I was indulging in foods that I know make it hard for me to stop eating.
Yep.
Simply put. And then I stopped the habits that kept the weight off. I got with Scotty day one, or one day he made this shirt, and Scotty Does It Fit, I think, on Instagram. Great guy, Scott Kramer. He really helped me take that weight off. And he does a lot of mindset. Took me over a year to lose 50 pounds, but I did it the right way. No fat. It was just high protein, moderate fat, low carb, but I basically focused on my macros and weightlifting. I didn't add cardio until the very end to get that last bit off. And I've been maintaining ever since. But that's because I learned why that second time as an adult I put the weight on. And I think you really have to know yourself. And so I've been maintaining it. I'm in a little upswing now because of being sick 3 times the last 2 months. So my body's like recuperating, but I'm back on track and the weight's coming off again. It's only like a few pounds though. It's not like 50, but that's how I met my friend and former coach and your coach, Sarah, Dr. Sarah Zaldivar, because I got with her to kind of like fine tune things as far as keto carnivore was concerned, because I just feel best on that way of eating. And so she helped me do that as well. So that's kind of where I'm at now, the way I eat. And I'm also kind of curious about fasting now. So now I'm just playing around. But yeah, that's in a nutshell.
All right. Now I'm going to ask you a question, which in your case, I don't think you mind. How old are you?